Okay, so in this video, we're going to start the first parts of our waltz cycle. Um, by now, this is what you're supposed to have, which is the very first pose of the waltz cycle, and with it, the background. Okay, so this is pretty much what our animation is going to look like. We're just going to now animate it. Okay, so I'm going to take my figure and I'm going to use that. Okay, so we're just going to, here are the things you're going to need. You're going to need that. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need a ruler. You're going to need a blank sheet of paper, like printer paper would be fine. And you're going to need the waltz cycle. Hopefully you've got a copy of this and print it out. Okay, and then also you're going to need something to trace with, like this light tablet. Okay. So first off, what we're going to do is just going to set the waltz cycle aside. Get our first pose, which is the contact pose, our first frame. Put it down. And then what we're going to do is position the paper so that this figure is somewhere near the edge of the paper. Now it's important here, I want to try to make sure that this is basically parallel to that. I don't want it kind of angled funny. I want to make sure that this, matter of fact, let's just go ahead and do this. I'm going to make a line across here. Like that. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, turn this back on, set the bottom of the frame along that line. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, again, I want to push my figure somewhere near the edge, and then I'm going to trace my figure. Now, here's the thing. When you make a tracing of a tracing of a tracing, things start to kind of deteriorate from the original. So you need to try to keep it pretty accurate as you go. Especially for this part, because this is going to be like our master, like our template, which we'll be making our other frames. One thing I've found over time is that when tracing, you don't want to follow the pencil. You want to look ahead of the pencil. So as I want to draw, let's say this arm, I don't want to look where the pencil is at, but I want to look kind of like in front, just in front of the arm. So that way I'm just kind of staying ahead of it as I'm looking at it. Just somehow it all works out that way. The pencil will go where you're looking. Okay, that's kind of how it works. So look ahead of the pencil, and the pencil will just follow. Okay. So there's my first figure. Okay, traced. All right. Now from here, I want to got a little off in the shirt right there. From here, I'm going to do something that's going to help me throughout the rest of this. Okay. The only thing that doesn't change this whole time, you know, the legs change, the arms change, but the torso doesn't really change. The head, the neck, and the torso, the chest and the abdomen and everything, the waist, doesn't change throughout the walk cycle. So, I mean, sure, you could vary yours a little bit, give it a little bit of character, kind of go back and forth a little bit. So, um, we can use this for the rest of our what we do for our walk cycle. So, what I'm going to do is actually I need another. Forgot. I do need another frame. A blank frame if I have one. Okay. So you do need another frame. Okay. So what I want to do with this is I'm going to trace. I could use a whole nother big piece of paper, but this frame would be better. As I know, making tracings upon tracing upon tracings. So what I'm going to do is line this up again at the bottom here. I guess that really doesn't matter here in a few minutes, but anyway, I just want to trace kind of like from the hips, just some indication, the waist, abdomen, the back. I'm actually going to get rid of the arm and just put in like there's the chest. Then to the head. Okay. So there's that. That's going to really come in handy, okay? That way I don't have to, that's going to stay the same throughout, okay, the walk cycle. So let's look back at our walk cycle, okay? So there's a couple of things that, you know, these lines are really going to help you in terms of completing this. And I want to kind of translate those lines over here in terms of where the foot is touching, where the sort of the bottom of the crotch is, and then up to where the top of the head is. Okay, so I want to make sure these lines are parallel to one another. I can cut this off for the moment. And so I really need to do real good at making sure I get this nice and parallel all the way across. Okay. Okay, so now we got to here. Actually, you know what I could do? To make sure I do a good job at this. I can place this back down. Place this back on that line. And you see how that's lined up to there and there? And I can do the same thing with his crotch. Do the same thing with the top of his head. Clipped a little bit off there, but it'll be okay. All right, so from there, why is all that useful? Why do I need to do all that? Because in the waltz cycle, the head pops down, the crotch goes down, comes back up, touches the line again, then pops up above the line, there and there, okay? So here's what I can do. I can go ahead and start, because this is what you're going to complete. I want you to complete today the rest of these 3 figures, okay? So I'm going to take this, put it back up under here, and I want it to go just below and I'm looking at this as a reference like that. Now I want to leave enough space in between my frames, you know, so hopefully my you don't want to go down too much, but you don't want to go down not enough either. Okay, so I feel like that gap right there is really what I'm looking at. I'm looking at that gap and that gap, okay, in relation to one another, okay? So I feel pretty good about that. And I want to make sure also, you know, hopefully when the arm is back and the leg is back, you know, I'm not hitting up against my previous drawing. So I think that's enough space right there, okay? I think, you know, we'll still be good to get in all 8 of these across here, okay? So I feel like that spacing is pretty good. Okay, I could go back just a touch more. Okay, I'll go with that. I'm going to trace it again. Now this part I'm only tracing, you know, I'm not tracing the arms. Just tracing the torso. Okay, so 2 more times. Again, now look at the next one. It's back to the original height on that line. Just trying to line up the bottom of the frame like that. There's no spacing there. It's just touching right here, which is where we want it. Okay. One more time. And this time it goes above for the high point. Okay. Move it forward. Look at the space here, and the space there. Okay. In terms of how this is going. I believe I have enough space. Yeah, his feet. If you look at the third one, the legs don't extend outwards. This one just extends back pretty far. So that's enough room there. Again, I want to be able to fit 4 more on here, so I need to make sure. Yeah, I'm almost basically midway. So I need to make sure I don't really go past that. Okay? Or else I may not make it to the end. Okay? So, I'll retrace again. Okay. Now, that's going to really create a lot of consistency throughout this whole thing in terms of being able to have that in place. Okay. Now, only thing left to do is to now start to draw each one of these. You know, basically you got this going a little further back. You got space here. It's not like the arm angle really changes. It just kind of straightens out, right? This arm doesn't do a whole lot extend. I guess the angle of this does. Well, it's pretty much about the same angle, except for this angle definitely changes. It comes down. So really, the arms are about the same. The upper arms, just this comes out further and this comes down, right? Obviously, there's quite a bit of change in the legs. This leg comes forward, it gets more bent, the foot gets picked up, the knee gets bent here, the foot's down. So you're going to have to then freehand, arms and legs, okay, on each one of these, okay. Now you got to make arms that look like those and legs that look like those, whatever you drew, in these positions, and keep them within the same characteristic, okay? That way you've cut down on all the other aspects of what you have to draw free-handed, and then, so just really make sure as you're doing this that, this foot doesn't touch that line, right? So you need to make sure at all times, you could even, kind of put your little line there just so that you know where these touch at in terms of where they belong, okay? So anyway, I do have a finished version. I can just pull out real quick and then you can see, okay? Now I didn't do the line for along through like the crotch area. I just did it for like the feet and then the head. And I didn't put a line down there for the frame, but I feel like that really helped in a lot of ways. So I would suggest doing that, but here is my completed first 4. Okay. Now once you've completed these first 4, it's really going to help speed things along for the next 4 of the final walking walk cycle. So this is what you're to complete and to turn in today is these 4 first poses. Okay? All right.